stop. If you bag up your fall leaves this weekend, you're throwing $300 in the trash. You're walking past $300 every week. In the next 13 minutes, I'll show you 5 yard treasures, including the one my grandmother called black gold, that may replace $300 of organic fertilizer every year. Safely, with no synthetic chemicals around your grandkids or pets. Item number 4 is the one that may pull earthworms to your soil noticeably faster than store-bought compost. But used the wrong way, the same item can burn young roots overnight and grow mold you don't want pets or grandkids breathing in. Here's the thing. I didn't just stumble onto this. Between my grandmother's old notes and actual university trials, the science is non-negotiable. Stay with me. Stop. Before you touch that rake, let's look at what's already lying in your yard. Fall leaves are not waste. They're a soil pension. Your trees are actually smart. Before a leaf drops, the tree packs up about 80% of its nitrogen back into the trunk. But it leaves the minerals behind for your garden. Calcium, magnesium, and a long list of micronutrients locked into the leaf tissue. That's why university extension programs across the country call shredded leaves the single best soil conditioner you can get. And it costs nothing. Shred them with a mower or leaf shredder to about 1/10 their original size. Pile them in a corner. In 6 to 9 months, you have leaf mold, the stuff that turns dry, packed dirt into a dark sponge full of earthworms. But leaves are only half the battle. Item number 2 is the free nitrogen boost your tomatoes are starving for. Fresh grass clippings. Grass is roughly 4% nitrogen by dry weight, the closest free substitute for a nitrogen booster. But this is where most people get it wrong. Pile it too thick, it cooks. Heat builds up, ammonia smells appear, and the patch underneath turns slimy. The fix is simple. Spread clippings in a thin layer, no more than 1 inch deep, around the base of fruit trees and tomatoes. Or mix it into your leaf pile to balance the carbon. One of my subscribers in Ohio messaged me last fall. She stopped buying nitrogen fertilizer 3 seasons ago. Her tomato beds get a thin grass mulch every cut. Her words: greener leaves, faster fruit, $0 spent. Your neighbors will ask what you're doing differently. Item number 3. Wood ash. Not charcoal briquettes. Not painted scrap wood. Plain, dry, untreated firewood ash from a fireplace or fire pit. It's roughly 5% potassium and contains calcium carbonate, the same active compound in agricultural lime. Penn State Extension notes that wood ash works as a rough equivalent to ground limestone. Potassium may push sweetness in fruit. Calcium firms up cell walls and can help produce blossom end rot in tomatoes. But here's where folks kill their blueberry bushes overnight. Do you have blueberries or azaleas? Then listen closely. Wood ash on acid-loving plants is game over. The lime effect will shock them. Keep wood ash far away from anything that wants acidic soil. Dosage matters. Roughly 3 pounds per 100 square feet per season scratched into the topsoil, not piled. So before we ever step into the kitchen, 3 free yard items give your soil 80% of what it needs. Nitrogen from grass, carbon from leaves, potassium and calcium from ash, all sitting in your yard right now. Now stay with me. This is where 90% of folks give up. Because what I'm about to show you is the difference between a tired patch of dirt and the kind of soil your neighbors will ask about over the fence next summer. Here's the thing. Your plants don't eat fertilizer. They eat 3 things in the right ratio: carbon, nitrogen, and minerals. Grandma called it brown stuff, green stuff, and ash. Same idea, different label. Stop! If you've ever wondered why your compost just sits there for 2 years doing nothing, this is the reason. Think of it like Sunday dinner. Carbon, your fall leaves, is the broth simmering on the back burner. Nitrogen, grass and coffee grounds, is the protein cooking fast on high heat. Minerals, wood ash and eggshells, are the seasoning at the end. Skip any one and the plate falls flat. Your garden works the same way. The ratio you actually want is roughly 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. Yard items alone swing too far toward carbon. The plants stay hungry. Growth stalls. That's where the 2 kitchen items earn their keep. A 2-person household tosses about a pound of coffee grounds and 3 to 5 eggshells a week. 50 pounds of grounds and around 200 eggshells a year sitting in your trash. Now, stay with me. Remember the black gold I promised at the start? Item number 4 is coffee grounds. And the science is not what gardening blogs tell you. There are 3 mistakes I see almost every week in viewer messages. Mistakes that burn young roots, grow mold around your grandkids' feet, and can be genuinely dangerous if a dog or cat licks the pile. I'll show you the safe dose, the exact way to dry and spread it, and the one plant group you must never feed coffee grounds to. Item number 5, the eggshell trick most folks have backwards, is right after that. Item number 4, coffee grounds. Here's what the science actually says, and where 90% of garden tip videos get it wrong. First myth busted. Used coffee grounds are not strongly acidic. Oregon State Extension measured them at pH 6.5 to 6.8. Basically neutral. The acid stays in your cup. So coffee grounds are not the secret for blueberries. They're a soil conditioner with a carbon to nitrogen ratio around 20 to 1. Plus chlorogenic and tannic acids that fuel soil microbes. The reason earthworms swarm coffee grounds is not magic. It's the moisture-holding texture plus the microbe boom that follows. Worms eat the microbes. More microbes equals more worms equals better soil structure. That's the chain. Now the safe dose. Dry the used grounds first. Spread them on a tray for a day. Wet piles grow white or green mold you don't want pets or grandkids breathing in. Once dried, mix coffee grounds into compost at no more than 10 to 20% of the total volume. Or sprinkle a thin layer, under ½ an inch, around established plants. Never against the stem. Never on seedlings. 3 plants to skip with coffee grounds: lavender, rosemary, and asparagus. They want cricket with sweeter soil, not the slight extra acid. And about pets. 1 tablespoon of dry grounds holds enough caffeine to harm a small dog if eaten in quantity. The ASPCA warns that caffeine is toxic to your dogs and cats. Don't ignore this. Always mix grounds into the top inch of soil. Never leave a pile sitting on the lawn. Item number 5. Eggshells. The biggest myth in gardening. Tossing crushed shells in the planting hole prevents blossom end rot. The University of Georgia and the University of Minnesota have both tested this. Whole or coarsely crushed shells barely break down in one growing season. They release almost no calcium in time to help the fruit. The fix is texture. Rinse shells. Bake them at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes to sanitize them and reduce salmonella risk. Then grind to a fine powder in an old coffee grinder. Powdered shells release calcium fast. A 1/4 cup of powder per tomato planting hole plus consistent watering is what actually prevents blossom end rot. The calcium has to travel through the plant in water. Skip a week of watering and even perfect soil calcium can't reach the fruit. My grandma used to say, "The garden remembers what you feed it." These 5 items, that's her whole secret. Here is your weekend routine, in order. Saturday morning. 1. Shred leaves with the mower. 2. Spread a thin grass layer around fruit trees. 3. Scratch a small handful of dry wood ash around your tomatoes. Not around blueberries. 4. Dry your week's coffee grounds and mix them into your compost or scratch them into open beds. 5. Bake and powder a week of eggshells and add a 1/4 cup to each tomato hole. Total time, about 45 minutes. Total cost, $0. Total chemicals around your grandkids and pets, it's not noli, the demographically impotential. Total cost, about 45 minutes. The democrat weighed. Let's bring it home. 3 items from your yard. Shredded leaves, grass clippings, and wood ash. They cover carbon, nitrogen, potassium, and calcium. 3 nutrients. 3 free yard items. That's 80% of what your soil needs, dragged to the curb every fall. 2 items from your kitchen close the loop. Dried coffee grounds, used at 10 to 20% of compost volume. Never on seedlings, never near pets unmix. Feed microbes and call earthworms in. Powdered eggshells, baked, ground fine, watered consistently, actually deliver calcium to fruit instead of sitting like rocks in the soil. 5. Free. Items. Around $300 a year in organic fertilizer replaced. 0 synthetic chemicals around your grandkids or pets. One should buy word bet in the world, and the promise I made at the start. The so-called magic acid in coffee grounds is just chlorogenic and tannic acid feeding microbes. And it only works on dried, dosed grounds. Here's the one question I want you to answer in the comments. Which of these 5 items are you starting with this weekend? Pick one. Tell me your zone or state. I'll reply to the top comment with a follow-up tip for your climate. Happy gardening!